Nice hat.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, friends. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Joaquin. Alexis. Good to see you all. So, in this morning's class, for those of you that were able to join us, we worked on nāḍīs. So, we worked on a different type of pranayama. And we're going to do the same thing for this practice, for our meditation practice. If you're driving, please be safe. I would not recommend it. So please keep your focus on the road. But if you're watching this from home, we start by finding our seat. Relaxing the shoulders, taking a few moments. Again, making the conscious intention to step into our meditation. And before we change our breath, before we begin with the alterations in the practice, we just notice where we're at today. Taking a moment to check in and see, how do we feel? How do we feel in this moment? How does our body feel? And then bringing awareness to the natural state of the breath. So how are we breathing right now? And how have we been breathing for the past couple of hours? And just take a few moments to answer these questions for yourself. Okay. Taking this moment, now that we've found some attention, some presence, setting an intention for today, for our lecture for today. And while we're at it, setting an intention for the rest of our day, the rest of our year. Bringing that intention to the forefront of the mind. Taking a deep breath in collectively through the nose. Audible exhale. Just letting it go. 2 more times. Deep breath in through the nose. And feeling that deep release, deep within the belly, squeeze in the belly as you exhale. Once again, we inhale through the nose, belly expands. We feel the heart rise, the shoulders expand, the back expands. Inhale a little bit more. This time we stick our tongue out. Gently opening the eyes. So, our nāḍīs, we take our pranayama mudra, bringing index and middle finger in towards the palm. We take our thumb, we cover the right nostril with the right thumb. Once you're here, inhale through the left nostril. Hold. Switch sides. Ring finger covers the left nostril. Exhale through the right. And then here at your own pace, move through an inhale. A switch. Exhale. And a switch. Finding long inhales, long exhales. We're going to give ourselves permission to do this for a few minutes. When it's time, I will guide us. taking 2 to 3 breaths on each nostril. And ending by exhaling all the air out of the body, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the sexual organs, the belly, hollowing out the body as you exhale. Finding the body completely empty, we hold empty. And we notice any tension in the body. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the face, softening the eyes. Slow breath in through the nose. Holding at the top, inhaling a little bit more. And gently release. Take the next couple of moments in our meditation just to notice what it feels like to be in our bodies after pranayama. Taking this moment to check in with the mind, check in with the body. Just notice what the past couple of minutes have been like for you. Where did the mind go? What was the character and quality of our experience, our thoughts? And again, noticing if any judgments for ourselves or for others are arising in that space and that questioning. For these last 2 minutes, we give ourselves permission to begin again. No instructions, just notice the breath. And give yourself permission to let the mind be as expansive as possible. When it's time, I will guide you through. Bringing awareness back to the body, yogis. We start by deepening the breath, slowing down the breath out. Movement through the fingers, the toes. And gently bring our hands to prayer by our heart. We seal our practice today by chanting Om together. Taking a deep breath in to prepare for our chants. Hands to third eye center. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all the beings in all the realms be happy, be free. And today, may our collective thoughts, words, and actions fall into perfect alignment for our liberation. Gently opening the eyes, and as we open the eyes, arriving at a space fully energized, fully focused, ready to ask questions and get the most out of our embodied Wednesdays. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Now, when we talk about moving breath through the body, or moving energy through the body, it's important as we do these practices that we don't just take those words at face value, but that we question all the information that we get, whether it's from your teachers or from books or from anything. And we go back to direct experience in our bodies. So that is why when we do these meditative techniques, and even when we started today's class, we spend some time feeling into what it feels like in the body to do these things. So I encourage you at home watching, anytime you try a different practice or you do something with your body, a movement, a different breathing technique, different meditation technique, studying what effects does that have before and after. So taking our practice very seriously, like a scientist would approach an experiment, right? We have our control group, we have the effects, and we try to measure those variables so that we can have a deeper, truly embodied personal experience with the practice, rather than just, again, repeating the things that we have been told to us. So that's my little nugget of wisdom on this Wednesday, and I pass everything over to our teacher, Serenity.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you for a beautiful meditation. So today's a very exciting class. We're going to be talking about topics that we've heard all throughout probably our yoga practice and even in spiritual community and language. We're talking about our energetic body, otherwise known as the astral body. And more specifically, we're moving through the koshas, or the sheaths of our existence, our being, and we're entering the second kosha, also known as the prāṇamaya kosha. So today's class, I'll start with a bit of a Dharma talk, and then we'll share some questions and thoughts closer to the end. And we'll also do some practice together to really feel what these concepts are in our own being. So let's get started. Okay, so as I was mentioning before, in our last class, we went over what we call the physical body, otherwise known as the annamaya body. And we talked about what that means, why the annamaya body is important, and yet not to confuse it with our true nature. So as we go through these koshas, one thing to keep in mind is that we are not the koshas. We are not a single layer, nor are we the combination of these layers. We are actually something beyond that. But in order to realize it, we travel through the koshas, acknowledging our physical form first, and then going deeper layer by layer. So today, as I mentioned, we'll be going over the prāṇamaya kosha, also known as the breath body. So prāṇamaya kosha, also known as the energetic sheath, the vital sheath, is an energetic body made up of prāṇa. Prāṇa, which means breath, but also life energy. It fills the physical body and it takes its shape. Prāṇa, as it mentions here, is a vital functioning process that allows us to breathe, that brings energy through the circulation of blood flow through our system, and gives us excellent health and longevity, because it is this energy that is the source of physical life. The Sanskrit word prāṇa has multiple interpretations in English. As I mentioned, it's life force, energy, the vital principle, breath, and some even call it the soul. And as it says here, in Hindu and yogic philosophy, prana also refers to the manifest energy, all of the manifest energy in the universe. It is present in both living beings and in inanimate objects, meaning our very existence itself is fueled, is moved by prana. So prana actually has many different functions. It has what we call apana, which controls the movement of energy from the navel down to the root chakra, which governs all forms of elimination and reproduction. So we're talking about like the lower chakra movements when we use the bathroom, when we procreate, things like that. And then another function of prana is what we called udana, and we're talking about the vayus here and its movements. These are all fancy words, but I want you to really take from this is that prana, again, is very specific in how it functions. So udana is the ascending energy that flows from the heart to the head and brain. It takes the mind from waking to sleep and to higher planes of existence after death. This udana rising energy. Prana also is in our body and circulates, and this is what we call samana, the vital force located in the solar plexus chakra just above the navel. It facilitates digestion and metabolism and also functions to distribute nutrients throughout the body. And as I was mentioning before, prana is in everything, meaning like the plants themselves, right? They need that process of carbon dioxide and oxygen to live. And then we take that oxygen into our body, which is our breath, which then becomes our vital force, that life force that keeps us going. So one thing I want to mention is that prana is not just like the energy that moves through us, but prana is also food, the things that we intake. Prana is also water, the drinks, the fluids that we intake. Prana is the yoga practice, the way it moves and stimulates energy. Prana is also in sunshine. So when we're basking in the sunlight, you can consider that as life force absorbing through the skin into your energetic body even. So sleep is also considered a function of prana. We'll go a little bit more into that. And meditation, yoga, inner work and activities that replenish us all help to work to balance these life force energies that are moving through us, whether or not we are conscious. So the prana moves through what we call nāḍīs. Nāḍīs are little channels that go all throughout our body that moves this prana life force throughout our system and allows them to function in a healthy, in a vibrant way. Now, if the nāḍīs are blocked, that's when we experience things like illness, emotional strife, and etc. So let's dive a little bit more into the nāḍīs. So let's read this together. Nāḍīs are a concept in yoga and Ayurvedic philosophy that refer to the network of subtle energy channels in the body. And you can see that here in this image. And one thing to note, even as you're looking at this image, is that the nāḍīs are not just in the body, they extend outward. And we talked about this a little bit in our last class, how sometimes we'll be minding our business and we'll feel someone looking at us from a distance. That feeling is our energetic body or the nāḍīs picking up on energy being sent our way. So, continuing, the word nāḍī comes from the Sanskrit root nad, which means to flow. So you can consider nāḍīs as almost being like rivers flowing through our body with that energetic vital force. And like it says, the nāḍīs carry prāṇa, life force, throughout the body and mind. And the crazy thing is, according to traditional texts, there are 72,000 nāḍīs in the human body. 72,000. Now, if you look here in this image, you'll see that the words are super tiny because there are so many nāḍīs to account for. And this, believe it or not, is not a complete picture of the nāḍīs either. The nāḍīs are so comprehensive that it would take quite a bit of elaboration and discipline to depict all of the channels. And some of the channels we may not be even fully aware of quite yet. So let's take a look. These are some examples of nāḍīs that you can find in your body that have been mapped. And you'll see they're all labeled here, only 36 of them that are depicted in this image. And you'll see as you go a little closer that they have some images of chakras that are associated. That's a little breadcrumb for what will come later in our Dharma talk. But but one thing to keep in mind is that the nāḍīs, this prāṇa, this energetic life force, is very much tied to the things that we've heard probably many times in our lifetime, like the chakras. So let's see how this exactly functions. Instead of remembering all of these fancy names and remembering every single nāḍī, I want you to remember these three. There are three main nāḍīs in the body that are especially related to yoga practice. It's called Ida, piṅgalā, and suṣumṇā. I'll say it again. Ida, piṅgalā, and suṣumṇā. I encourage everyone to practice it. These are very fun words to say. So let's look at the Ida nāḍī first by looking at this image. As you see in this chart, the Ida nostril is noted in the color blue. And before we go into the Ida, just notice the piṅgalā. It is noted in the color yellow. If you look at this image, you'll see kind of like a DNA structure weaving into one another as it rises upward from the root to the top of the body. This is how the nāḍīs are anatomically placed. So the Ida weaves into the piṅgalā and kind of like goes in this helix structure, moving through what we call the central channel, which is the suṣumṇā. Now, what we want to do with prāṇa, with pranayama, you may have heard this term, pranayama meaning like the manipulation and the practice of moving prana throughout the body, we are focusing on bringing this kundalini energy, another word you all may have heard, up through these channels, through the chakras, all the way up to the crown, for what we call samadhi, nirvana, or enlightenment. And that is how our subtle body supports us and becomes the home, the very vehicle for our liberation. Now that's the bigger picture of things. Let's go right back to the Ida. Ida, as you can see, is in blue on this side. It is often on the left side. The left side. And I wouldn't say often, it is the left side, if I may correct myself. And it is said to govern the mental and emotional functions, such as imagination and introspection. The Ida also is related to sleep. It's related to a sense of quiet and introvertedness. The Ida is stimulated typically in the evening hours when the sun sets, because the Ida is ruled by the moon. So when we look at both Ida and piṅgalā, we want to view Ida as a feminine force, a flowing force like the water, which is why we call it the moon current, also known as the Chandra Nadi. Chandra meaning moon in Sanskrit. Now let's go to the piṅgalā. Piṅgalā, if you look on the chart, is noted in yellow. The piṅgalā nadi is associated with the right side of the body, and it is said to govern the physical and energetic functions such as metabolism and circulation. The piṅgalā is activated when we feel energy, vital energy, energy that gets us to go to the gym and do physical work, energy that's related to an alertness, something like drinking coffee, something that's very outward focused, something that generates heat. And as you can imagine, the piṅgalā is naturally activated in the daytime, and it is ruled by the energy of the sun. The sun. And as you can imagine, it is the opposite and balancing force of the Ida, meaning that it is a masculine energy. So in Hindu thought, the Ida is often understood as Shakti or divine feminine, and piṅgalā is often associated with Shiva or the divine masculine. What's another important note here is that this body image that you see is not gendered, which means that every single one of us has both a feminine and a masculine aspect. We have a moon and a sun aspect, and both are what's needed for us to have a full experience as a human being. Let's go into our next nadi, the suṣumṇā. So the suṣumṇā is that central channel, noted in gray, that shoots from the root all the way up and opens at the crown. Suṣumṇā nadi is considered to be the central channel, and it runs up the spinal column, passing through every chakra. And as I mentioned earlier, it is associated with spiritual awakening, and it is the very path to liberation. The suṣumṇā nadi is how we balance these two different aspects of ourselves into one. And you may notice some themes here. You may even think of the gunas here. Left nostril Ida having the quality or the energy of tamas. The right nostril, the piṅgalā, having the energy of rajas. and suṣumṇā being that central channel that brings both into balance. And like I said before about the gunas, we are not rejecting rajas and we are not rejecting tamas. We're simply bringing them into balance. And the same thing applies here with pranayama. The purpose of pranayama is to bring these different aspects of ourselves into equilibrium. And as we bring that into equilibrium, an opening is created for that Kundalini serpent energy, which is said to be sleeping at the root chakra, to rise and have a pathway to come up in through the third eye and create awakening for each of us. So, balancing and awakening the nāḍīs is not just a technique that is found in pranayama, it is also in asana and in meditation. So by cultivating balance and awakening the nāḍīs, whether or not we achieve a liberation, that's kind of the main goal, what we experience on the way is physical and mental health, realizing our ultimate potential, manifestations, great realizations. Those are things that you can expect as the channels begin to open up. Okay, now let's see how this all fits into the chakra system. We have an image here of one of Yogananda's gurus, actually. And let's just take a look for a second. You'll see the root chakra, you'll see the chakras rising up. You also see the Ida and Piṅgalā surrounding each chakra, rising up and then opening into this yantra, which represents the divine awakening. And that's exactly it. So in this image, you'll see Kundalini or Shakti, divine feminine life force, Shiva, actually Shakti, rises up to meet Shiva up in the top of the energetic body. And much like how we have a feminine and masculine side, when we bring our bodies into balance, the feminine aspect at the bottom of our physical form rises up to meet the masculine, coming into divine union, which opens up and creates more life force to enter from the divine realms. So why are the chakras important here? You may have heard of what's called a blocked chakra. What happens with blocked chakras is that as we do pranayama, if something is clogged in these energetic points or milestones, the prāṇa is not able to effectively rise and therefore remains stuck wherever there is that block. So as an example, if I have a block in the root chakra, I'm going to be experiencing things like scarcity, feeling like a rug has been pulled from underneath my feet, a sense of no safety, which then blocks my ability to have creativity and expression and relationships and pleasure in my life, which stops me from having personal power, from assertiveness, from true self-worth, which stops me from sharing my heart, which stops me from speaking my truth. You can see where this is going here. And so when there is a blockage, it is actually asking us for some attention, some care. And the care is in the sadhana meaning the daily practice of pranayama, asana, introspection, all the yogas that we are learning about here at Yoga Mārga School. Another cool point about the nāḍīs is that we can physically manipulate them as well. And as I said, this is the prāṇamaya body, meaning that our breath can also impact these bodies. Now, let's make it really, really easy. Let's look here. Piṅgalā nāḍī, right nostril. Ida nāḍī, left nostril. This image doesn't exactly depict it, but you'll see that the Ida nāḍī, as it winds up, comes through the left nostril and then goes up. The piṅgalā nāḍī goes through the right nostril and then goes up. So what we do in pranayama, or another pranayama that you may have heard of is nāḍī shodhana. Are you hearing some familiar words here? Nāḍī shodhana. It is the switching of our nostrils as we breathe. And what that does is activate and balance the nāḍīs that are associated with each nostril. I'll give you an example. Let's say that I'm a person that has a hard time sleeping. I have a hard time getting into more of that evening moon energy. What can I do with this information about the nostrils? I can simply block the right nostril and begin to breathe. And after a few minutes of presence and concentration with that left nostril open, the nervous system, which is associated with the prāṇa, with the nāḍīs, begin to relax, entering a parasympathetic mode, which leads to rest and relaxation. The opposite works too. Let's say you're a type of person that is sluggish throughout the day. We block the left nostril and begin to breathe from the right. And by doing that, you're activating the piṅgalā nāḍī, inviting Sun Shiva energy into the system, inviting energetic and awakening and alertness. This kind of like winding interplay of the nāḍīs also applies, funny enough, to our armpits. So there are these images you'll see. Take some time to Google after this lecture. You'll see some sadhus, or like renunciate Hindu monks, something like that, carrying canes. You'll see a lot of them carrying something. And this cane actually is placed underneath an armpit, pressing inward. Like I said, the Ida and the piṅgalā rise up like this. And in one of the touch points is our armpit. So what happens when you press into your right armpit for a long time, and give this a try at home if you want, just press into there, give it a couple of minutes. And you'll notice that your left nostril begins to open. So it works in a crisscross system here with the armpits. If I'm squeezing the right, the left side, the Ida side opens. If I'm pressing and squeezing the left, the right side, the Sun piṅgalā nāḍī awakens. So these are some little tricks and ways that we can invite our prāṇamaya, our physical body, to impact and awaken the subtle body, or the prāṇamaya. Another thing that you can do throughout your day to check, what am I dominant in today? What am I dominant in this moment? Is to check what we call nasal laterality. Nasal laterality, really just a scientific term for one nostril is flowing more freely than the other. And funny enough, science has shown that all throughout the day, the dominant nostril switches. And you might have even noticed this. Maybe you haven't tracked it, but you might want to look at it from now on. So what happens is that in the morning, in alertness, our right nostril tends to be more open. When we're feeling sluggish or tired, our left nostril tends to be more open. So that's a way to check how your energetic body is doing. Taking a moment to just and checking to see where that ease of flow is in your nostrils. Now, these are things that are often not spoken about in yoga teacher trainings, and I'm really excited to share this with you because this is the big picture of why the chakras matter. Why does breath work matter? And what is the point? What's happening here is often not fully illustrated and explained. And what you can do as yoga practitioners with this knowledge is to literally visualize what is happening in your system as you're working with it. So when you're teaching Nadi Shodhana or when you're practicing Nadi Shodhana, you can even visualize the Ida Piṅgalā system activating, rising up, and coming into balance because you have this knowledge. Now, let's move on into some other fun stuff. These colorful dots that are along the way in the suṣumṇā, known as chakras, otherwise known as chakras. You might have heard chakras quite a bit. Chakras is the correct Sanskrit pronunciation. So chakras have been seen all throughout like spiritual imagery and new age thinking. We often have crystals associated with it, colors, scents, incense. You may have seen it all. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the chakras are a yogic way, a yogic understanding of our energetic body, but also are associated with seed mantras, elements, ways of thinking, ways of being that are often less emphasized. So let's go through one chakra at a time and go through some of these details together. And we'll do it quickly. Root chakra. This is the mandala or the yantra image for the root chakra. As you can see, there's an Om symbol here. There is the earth element pointing downwards. Muladhara chakra. The seed mantra for the Muladhara chakra is Lam. And if you can, say it with me. Lam. Lam. You may chant Lam when wanting to seek a connection with your root chakra. And as you can imagine, the element is earth, the energy is safety, groundedness, and the action is I amness. It is also associated with the color red. Next, we have the Svadhisthana chakra. Svadhisthana chakra. And the seed mantra for this chakra is Vam. 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 And by chanting the seed mantra, you're connecting with this orange orb, the element of water, the energy of sexuality, creation, flow, with the action of I feel. I feel. The next chakra moving up the suṣumṇā is the Manipura chakra. Manipura chakra, associated with the beautiful color yellow like the sun. And you can even see here the yantra, the image, the mandala image, looks like the sun as well. And the seed mantra for the solar plexus chakra is Ram. 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 By chanting Ram, you are connecting with your Manipura chakra. You're inviting the element of fire, fire that works to digest our foods, that keeps our bodies warm. And the energy is self-mastery. It's personal power. It's assertiveness. And the action is I do. I do. Moving up to the heart with the color green. Anahata chakra. Anahata chakra. The seed syllable or the mantra is Yam. 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 And as you say Yam, you're inviting and opening and connecting with the heart chakra, the element of air, the energy of love. And here we have a drum that needs no drummer. The action is I love. I love. Next, we have the throat chakra or the Vishuddha chakra, associated with the color blue. The seed mantra chant is Hum. Hum. The element is ether, space, and the energy is expression, truth, purification, and the action is I speak. The third eye chakra, pronounced as the Ajna chakra. I'll say that again. The Ajna chakra. The chant is Om. This is something you all have heard at some point and something we have practiced, likely this morning even. Om. The element is transcendent. Transcendence. The energy is the mind, that intuitive knowing. The action is I see. I see. Last but certainly not least, we have the Sahasrara chakra. Sahasrara chakra. And as it says here, instead of chanting, we have silence. And so we listen. The element is nothing. It's everything. It's all that is between and beyond. It is beyond the intellect's comprehension. The action is I know. I know. So when you feel a blocked chakra, like let's say there's something that needs to be said that hasn't been said yet. And you can even feel something like sort of energy that feels like a choking. Try the chant hum. Try it out. And even notice what else could be blocked. Where does energy in your body throughout these chakras feel dense. And in your meditation, try visualizing the chakra. And it looks like here, like this is a 2D plane. But when you're visualizing the chakra, really imagine like an orb. It's a 3D orb that is spinning in all the directions, that has openings in the front and in the back. Meaning like the chakras are not just at the front of our body, placed like stickers in specific places. They're in our back body as well. So as you're visualizing, think of the chakra, the very center of your being, with openings in the front and in the back, circling, filling up that internal space, moving with energy. One thing I will say is that the root chakra has an opening at the bottom, inviting earth energy upward. While the crown chakra has an opening at the top, allowing light energy, astral energy, heavenly realms to enter. But this also works in the opposite way. We can move our energy up through the crown chakra, as we spoke about. And we can also push energy into the earth as well. That is today's Dharma talk on the prāṇamaya kośa. Next week, we will be going into the emotional body, also known as the manomaya kośa. And if we have time, we'll be going into the vijñānamaya kośa, or the intellectual body. And there's a lot to look forward to there. It's, if I may give a little clue, it's like ancient psychology. Stopping my screen share. I'd love to hear from each of you. Anybody that has a question, a thought, a realization, I'd love to hear from you.
I wouldn't mind going first. Let me turn my camera on. I always charge my phone this time. Let's see if I can get it on. Okay, hello. I would say something that I noticed is when we were doing the breath exercises, like at the beginning of the morning classes, I noticed like I had a little blockage on my left side, which was weird. Usually it's like my right side that has it. But in learning about what it means to have like that side blocked, I've also had like a lot of like pain on my left side. So it kind of was eye-opening to me because I've been thinking about like just finding different things to help with opening my chakras up, and learning about the nāḍīs today. It was very interesting to me to kind of chant and everything like that. So I definitely want to do more research even outside of class, just to like better myself on opening up those blockages. And even in hearing like what causes like the side effects of it, it kind of made me realize like, yeah, I need to get back into it. So that's what I kind of learned about today. It was really fun to look at everything and learn.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you had a good time. And it sounds like, yeah, you're applying what you're learning right away into the sensations of your body. Like noticing that your left side is feeling both blocked and experiencing some pain. And noticing that that energetic body is connected to the physical one. And one thing I didn't mention, and that I'm very appreciative of you for helping me remember, is that the chakras are actually associated with the nerve endings and the way they reach out of the body. So each of the chakras actually have like nerve endings that, again, influence the pain in our body, the feelings, and you're recognizing that. I'm really excited to see how you take these tools to bring that body into balance. And I'd love to hear what happens.
Thank you. I will. I'll definitely keep you updated.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
Joaquin, would you like to share? I saw you might have been thinking about it.
Hi, yes. I have had a yoga instructor in the past do this type of pranayama work with us in class. And she taught us about this, but I forgot. I never really absorbed that information. But it's really nice to dive deep into the male and female energies with the nāḍīs. I'm gonna definitely be practicing this a lot more now. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Joaquin. Yes, yeah, I love that this is helping you remember what you've learned. You're right. Like you said, you've taken a class, you learned a little bit about it, and now you have this like breadth of knowledge and even more information and or even a remembering of how you've even done this before, which is really exciting. And kind of like with Alexis, I would invite you to share like your experiences with it, with this like awareness now that of the sides and their energetic impacts.
Yeah, I was practicing earlier when you were talking about the nāḍīs in the beginning. I was checking the airflow before you even started mentioning. I was like, I wonder which side I'm thinking about the surgeries and like the turbinate surgeries that I've had and how this is affecting people. And people have no idea. They don't even realize that they're lethargic because they have blockages in their nasal passageways. And so I'm so grateful that I've had excellent doctors fix my issues. But yeah, people are suffering, they're in pain, and they have no idea that it could be relieved with something as simple as breathing techniques.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I really appreciate you bringing that up because a lot of people with deviated septums, right? They have often like energetic things that are happening that they don't think actually comes from this. But a lot of people, like a lot of yoga therapists, like I've even found that when my students are able to like actually heal the breath flow in just their anatomical nose structure, so much can change. And it's a domino effect. So yeah, I'm so grateful for your doctors too, so that you can bring your body into balance and that you're not limited by like a bone or something getting in the way. Yeah. That being said, I will say if you do have a deviated septum, not to worry. That's why we have Nadi Shodhana. And another good thing is that as much as we can be impacted by our physical body, we can also influence and impact our physical body, meaning that there are studies that show that when you do Nadi Shodhana, you can actually begin to heal the nose passageways and create more of that balance. Would anyone else like to share?
Hello.
Hey, Christine.
Um, I really like the visuals. I think that sometimes we just, or maybe, like you have this physical form, but there's so much more going on. And like, yeah, in teacher training, you get to talk a lot about it, but to revisit it in this way is super cool. Because, down the path now, of teaching for several years, I think it's really important to keep in mind of how the postures and all of that and the breath work all come together and like this web, right? And the energetic body is super part of that. So yeah, I'm just like really appreciating this revisit and integrating and everything together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it sounds like you've already had some training. And so it is a revisiting. And kind of like with all yoga trainings and education, it's like often it's like encountering again for the first time. I mean, I've been teaching this stuff myself, and every time I look at it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm getting so much from it. And one thing I'm particularly highlighting is how it all fits together. I think that's the part that a lot of yoga teacher trainings often miss or skip. It's how they are interrelated and how we can impact those other layers through the practices. And it seems like you're putting the pieces together and even thinking about flows. And yeah, so one thing I will mention is like, like as an example, we go into fetal pose after Shavasana. And a lot of people will say, choose whatever side you want. Some people will say, go only on the right side. But there are actual prana implications by choosing the side that you roll on. So if you roll on the right side, you're activating that left nāḍī, the Ida. By laying on your left side, you're opening up your right side, your right energy channel. And these things are often forgotten. And so now you can take this into your flows and even play with how you can balance those energies through posture.
Yeah,
It's-
super, super, super good. Especially for restorative right now. Because I think it helps people expand their understanding of like the anatomical structure, the energetic component to it, just like you just said, because when your right side is compressed, the left side of your body is receiving more blood, oxygenated blood. So yeah, you open up the left side of it. It's super cool. I just love this. I love this energetic stuff so much.
Yeah, I can see both like the scientist and the yogi lighting up and putting it all together.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone. Gabriel, do you have any questions? I just want to check in really quick. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone, again for joining Embodied Wednesdays. We'll see you next week, continuing through the kośas. Have a great day. Bye.